Very good morning, students. This is once again myself, Professor KVH here, just to bring few words to your kind consideration regarding the same non-formal education programs, especially in your ED 18 paper, that is fourth semester of B.Ed. So, dear students, let me discuss about the concept of non-formal educational programs, which is it's a very suggestive framework of NFE indicators. See, when we think about the background of this sector, free and compulsory elementary education is a constitutional commitment and it's a fundamental right in India. Just as you know, though the government is the main provider and of elementary education, but actually it's a large number of private and voluntary agencies are also involved in providing school education. Impressive progress has been made on all spheres elementary education, but despite spectacular what do you call this quantitative expansion of educational facilities, the goal of universal elementary education is still a very far distance dream, because it's because of the only constitutional regulation which whatever that government has introduced, but it because of the continuous efforts, enrollment at all levels of education increased manifold ever since the adoption of the constitution in 1950. Because in the recent past, the government of India initiated a number of programs, most of which have been initiated during the last decade. Except in case of few programs, activities were focused around the primary level of education. So the new government initiatives, namely the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyana, that called education for all, expanded for coverage not only the entire elementary level of education but also to all the district of the country, because despite of all around the improvements, especially in school education, there is a significant number of out of a school never enrolled and even drop out children. Still a number of habitations do not have access to primary and upper primary schooling facilities. In view of large number out of school children and even unserved habitations, so what do you call that, concentrated efforts have been made across the country in the form of non-formal education that has been recently renamed as the Education Guarantee Scheme and Alternative and Innovative Education, that is called EGS and AIE. Once again, I shall be pardoned for that. Education Guarantee Scheme and Alternative and Innovative Education. So, what are the type of the non-formal education programs? So, the first important information that is required to build indicators framework is to know about the type of NFE programs being afforded and also the major providers apart from education sector. So NFE, that is called non-formal education especially, so programs are also being offered by other sectors of economy, but its information about these programs are not fully known because we are still blurred for that. But even all type of NFE providers and even programs within the education sector are not properly documented. This is also one of the reasons. So UNESCO Paris has recently initiated efforts to develop, especially for NFE, that's called MIS, and even the school directions. Some studies have been conducted in the district of Hyderabad and Indore, especially in India. So the outcome of these studies reveals that there are a vast variety of NFE programs that are being offered within the outside education sector, and the governmental as well as non-governmental agencies are providers of these programs. But before a framework of especially of this NFE indicators is developed, it is necessary to know in detail type of NFE programs being offered and also so the providers. In this regard, information on the following aspect, just I am taking over these program concept. Let me discuss one by one. So I have a chit here. So the type of program, so detailed list characteristics of the programs offered at different levels distributed by the nature of program, like ECCE literacy out of school children, especially for continuation education, etc., because they are left in the school. Location, outputs, objectives, and even contents, teaching, learning methods, educators, and even learners. So second one is called providers or some agencies. So providers means they distributed by the type of programs at a different level by location. So the providers may either be government or non-government agencies. Non-governmental agencies can further be divided into aided, unaided, voluntary, and even called missionary managements. And so the providers are agencies that offer programs for special target, that is called, we are calling focus groups by location. So the information on the all aspects has already been collected in the two pilot district mentioned below, and in which all the non-formal education programs can be grouped like these. What are those? You please concentrate on these things. First one is called literacy programs. Second one is called schooling for out of school children. Third one is called life skill training. Fourth one is called rural development. Next one is called income generation training. Next, non-formal higher education. And the next one, religious education. And the next one, laser education. Once again, I shall repeat. The first one is called literacy programs. Second one is called schooling for out of school children. Third one is called life skill training. Fourth one is called rural development. Fifth one is called income generation training. Sixth one is called non-formal higher education. Next one is called religious education. And the final one is called laser education. So the target focus of these groups, further actually the pilot studies reveal that the non-formal education programs that are being offered and just are targeted to the special groups for which specific programs have been designed and implemented. By and the large ongoing, these programs are targeted like these. First one is, once again, you please concentrate on these things. So non-formal just education programs are targeted and especially to following, even to focus or target just these groups. One is called illiterates. Second one is called neo-literates. Third one is called out of school children or youths. Next one is called women and girls. And the next one is called rural poor. And next one is called urban poor. And the final is called ethnic or linguistic minority groups. So actually what I just used to say that perhaps the most crucial information that is required for planning and monitoring of non-formal education program is the very, what do you call that, clientele population, and most of the monitoring indicators that can be worked out. If the population for which national non-formal education programs are initiated is no, in the absence of which it would be rather difficult to estimate need, demand, and even the participation at different levels. Not only the present information is required, but in future information is also required to enable reliable planning for NFA programs. Now the question is, for example, let me take this. Very for pre-primary programs, there is a very called corresponding age group, that is 3 to 5 years for programs concerning elementary education. Relevant age group is 6 to 14 years for adult literacy and even continuing education programs. Corresponding age group are 15 to 35 years or 15 plus population. But non-formal activities, as mentioned, many of these programs are being run by non-government voluntary agencies also. The NFE programs within the education sector can be broadly grouped into the following categories. Once again, please concentrate on this. So this education sector can be broadly grouped into the following these 4 categories. One is called early childhood care and education. Next one is called literacy, that is called adult illiterates, or actually they who try and come under this sector. out of school children, including EGS youths. The next one called continuing education. So the providers, especially NFE providers, the government and even central bar state government joint program of central and even state government run these concepts. Cooperative agencies, registered society where the profits are shared by the contributing members. Oh, industrial bar business, especially for enterprises, you are calling as entrepreneurs or enterprises. So these are the entrepreneurs. Education bar, sometimes you are calling as a training institutions. Professional associations, sometimes you can say the trade unions. Religious bodies, missions, some agencies which are recognized by religious organization like Islamic, Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Jewish, etc. So community-based organization that we are calling as a CBO, national branch of international, that's called NGO, national branch of international, that is NGO, national branch of international NGO, local branch of national NGO, local NGOs, just doing something in your religious way, private bodies, and finally international fundings, especially for technical assistance agencies like UNESCO, UNICEF, UNDF, USAID, SID, just GTZ, World Bank like ADB, etc. So these are the very supportive things to support non-formal education. Dear students, what are the objectives according some in generalization? To emphasize the need for developing indicators for formal education, non-formal education programs, to explain meaning of indicators by taking examples in a very simple way, and just will facilitate users in conducting indicators of their choice, to suggest a co-group of NCT indicators just called type of provide just for the very teacher education institutions, like you're conducting some programs, maybe sometime I can say that B.Ed, D.Ed and M.Ed, to present the meaning of an indicator, especially its objectives, definitions, limitations, interpretations and information and even requirements and source of information. So that means these are those things which we discuss under the concept of objectives. So in my next period, once again, I shall bring a very new concept. So this is about non-formal education in India. This is once again, I am Professor KVH. Once again, have a nice time. Take care of yourself.